Hi, guys. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to let everybody know that this podcast is now available on your favorite audio platform. Just go to subtushana-thisistheway.buzzsprout.com. Thank you. So please join me in welcoming Nathaniel. Please say your last name so I don't butcher it.
Hovsepian. It's 3 syllables. That's the trick to Armenian last names. Is Y-I-N is kind of how you say the I-A-N there at the end. Yin.
Hovsepian.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nathaniel is a fellow Subto Community member, real estate investor, and he's also a podcaster. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. So, why don't you start by telling us when you joined Sub2 and what led you to Sub2?
Well, what led me to Sub2 is a couple of other mentorships that weren't what we were hoping for. That's a kind of typical way that people find Sub2. I joined in 2022. It's just over 2 years ago at this point. We had done, like I said, a couple other mentorships, and actually, like 9 months prior to joining, I had an opportunity to join Sub2 and decided to go a different route. Pretty immediately was like, darn it, I made the wrong choice. But we had already spent a bunch of money on this other mentorship. We did, 3-6 months there, and then took a little break. Okay, assess what we want to be doing, and realize, no, Sub2's growing. This place is building a community. This place Morby, he's legit. He's not just some guru out there trying to make money, on selling a mentorship, right? He's got a lot of different things going on inside the Subto community, and that's why we joined. I specifically joined because I wanted to become a better closer on the phone, hone my skills there, and I knew that they were doing daily dials in the morning, nightly dials at night, multiple Zooms talking about sales and all these skills and stuff like that. So it was, I wouldn't say it was a no-brainer at the time. Looking back, it was a no-brainer. I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be in the community, in the groups and, different smaller communities that I'm a part of now if I hadn't joined Sub2. So it looking back, it's a no-brainer, but it was, a decision at the time that we kind of weighed.
Gotcha. So, did you just get these other programs and did them for a while, or did you get them and find Pace shortly after? And were you already closing deals, or didn't really start?
Yeah, I was fortunate. Like, we had deals under our belt, so we had a little momentum prior to joining a couple other mentorships. Real estate was a little hobbyish kind of for me. I would answer the phone when it rang, but I wasn't really being proactive, trying to go after other properties. I don't want to say that I didn't take I took the mentorships lightly, because I did focus and I did try to learn what everybody was teaching, but compared to Sub2, they weren't teaching anything. It was very small. Here, go to this Kajabi course, watch these things. We'll meet once a week if you have any questions. If there's no questions, I'm not going to hold the Zoom, right? And like an hour Zoom okay, yeah, just the Sub2 community. It's the sun, and we're talking about turning on a light in our room, right?
Right, exactly. I agree. I have a kind of similar story. Well, I was already a realtor, but then I found Pace and I knew that I was going to join, but I was like, I don't have the money for that right now. So I joined Jerry's 10K club to raise the money to join some.
Nice.
Don't tell Jerry. Yeah, so
he heard it here. He heard it here.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So your podcast.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking a little off stream there, that I started it basically a year ago at this point, when Pace started this project forward. He was trying to empower people in the community to become leaders. And I hadn't really thought about starting a podcast at that point.
You hadn't?
I hadn't. No, I don't think I had. I don't know. But if you go back and look at some of those early episodes, I'm okay, I guess, because I was already kind of comfortable being in front of the camera, but knowing how to keep a conversation going, it's different, right? I can talk to a seller and I can keep that conversation going, but talking to another person, it's a little like just about what they're doing, where they're trying to go. It's different. It's a networking conversation. Is
Yeah.
my podcast is called Networking with Nathaniel. So I'm meeting people and learning about
Mhm.
what they're up to, kind of where they're going, what hurdles they have, what's working well, and how myself and other people in the community and those that are watching can learn how to work with these people, how to bring deals, or how to JV and things like that. So it is a networking podcast. It's about creating relationships and finding opportunities where you might not have known they existed. And
I'm working with a person right now that I had on my podcast a while back.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I love doing this. This is like
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini, so we're talkers, we're
Okay. I
talkers
have
and
no idea what that
thinkers.
means. Yeah. A
So
Gemini. I know Google Gemini. Yeah, I know.
right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Gemini. Actually, Gemini birthdays just ended. We're all mostly June, but yeah.
Okay, we're coming up on mine. I know I'm a Leo. I don't
Yeah.
know if
Oh,
that means anything
Leo.
to you,
Okay,
but yeah.
that's what my son is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Leos are awesome. Yeah. So, what advice do you have for somebody just starting out?
Starting out in podcasting or starting out in real estate
Oh, in sub
or
two.
both? Oh,
In
in sub two. Okay. I know that I wish somebody had told me this when I first joined, and I don't know if they're still doing the go out and meet 50 people, right? Make 50 new connections. And
Mhm.
she may have said it, Caroline. Shout out to Caroline Kane. She's amazing. She does a lot for the community. She
Yeah.
may have said it and it just went in one ear and out the other. But you go meet 50 people, and you should really, now that the community is 13,000, you should go out and meet a lot more than that. But it's
Mm.
not about just going and meeting the people. It's about really trying to find out what the other person's doing, where they're trying to go. Like I said, what hurdles and things like that are they running into, and how can my experience and what I've done and the other people that I know kind of plug into that, and then keep in touch with these people. So I did a great job
Mhm.
going out and meeting 50 people, and I was like, check,
And
50
then
people.
you
Yeah,
stopped. Right.
yeah, met them. They're never heard from them again. Never talked to most of them probably again. Yeah, so that's what I would say. When you're starting out,
Mhm.
go meet a bunch of people, have a lot of good conversations, but then stay in touch with them. So that's
Mhm.
one. I mean, I could probably go on a list here. Um, I, there's a lot of ways to. I'm trying to think of another way to say skin a cat. There's a lot of
Right,
ways to.
don't skin a cat. I have a
Yeah,
cat.
don't skin the cat, but for the purposes of
Yeah,
the analogy here,
gotcha.
there's a lot of ways to do so in real estate. So it's easy to get distracted, especially when you don't have any path you're already on. You're just coming into sub two, like, I want to do real estate. I know that I can figure it out inside this community, right? I'm going to have all the tools I need. It's easy to get distracted because I go, oh, I'm going to do TTS, and then I try that for 3 weeks. Direct to seller. Sorry for anybody.
Right, right.
DTS, direct to agent, DTA. Like, okay, I was calling sellers for 3 weeks and I didn't get a deal, so let me do DTA, direct to agent. I do that for a few weeks and I don't get a deal. Okay, well, let me try Gator lending, and let me try that. It's just focus on one thing for at least 90 days.
Yeah.
One is that typically the cycle of a lead is at least 90 days or more, right? Especially when you're talking about direct to seller, is most of the time it takes like 7 to 11 times talking to this person for them even to be ready to sell the house to you, right? They need to build up some
Mhm.
trust. I don't want to say that you can't close a deal on the first call, but um, and then two is like, you're if you only do something for a few weeks, you haven't really built up the muscle, the skill to be able to close deals consistently, and you also haven't experienced a lot of the things that you're going to experience over those 90 days to really make an informed decision on whether this is the path you should be going on or not. So
Mhm.
do some research, right? Watch all these modules, watch the avatar. I watch the avatar Zoom. If you haven't seen that Zoom already,
Mhm.
pick one and go, this is what I'm going to do for 90 days. And as you're networking, try to find people, like try to find these opportunities that fit into that avatar, right? If I'm going to be a direct to seller, caller, and I network with somebody that's like, I'm bringing in these leads and I don't know what to do with them.
Mhm.
I'm making
Right.
direct to seller calls. Could I provide you some value there by calling these leads for on your behalf? 100%.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and those 2 questions, what do you have and what do you need?
yeah. And I like to do, I like to kind of formulate it more on like, hey, what are you working on? Right? What is struggle? What are your struggles? What are your hurdles in your business? It's just a different way to kind of formulate it, because everybody
Mhm.
hears the what do you have, what do you need kind of thing. And then I also like, what's working well? What's working well for you right now? And there are little things that there are little nuggets in there that I can pick up and I can write down on my little notepad. I always have a little notepad here. And, when I may go into the very next networking call that I have and meet somebody that I can connect to this person and we can do a deal together. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, like Pace calls it finding the bunnies, right? It's similar. It's finding opportunities here
Mhm.
and how I can kind of plug in and help
Did you know that's
other people
that's
grow.
what else this does? The bunny
The
ears?
bunny ears, yeah. Oh, you can't see mine, but
Subto.
yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Did you ever take the crystallizer test?
No, what is this? Is
Oh,
this a
that's how
Gemini
you.
thing?
No, it's
Okay.
not. It's from the book Rocket Fuel, and it's how you know if you're a visionary or
I
integrator.
did. Yeah, I just didn't know that that's what it was called. I am a visionary per the test. I was like an 84 or something like that, high 80s.
So, how long ago did you take it?
I was pretty early on in Subto when I heard about it.
So, I was just having on my podcast interview with McKenna. We were talking about this, and we were saying on the episode that I said, I bet you that your score will change
Hmm.
at different points in your life depending on where your confidence level is or where you're at in your business and so on and so forth. So I said, she's like, you know what? I think you might be right. So I said, all right, let's take the test
On the
after.
podcast? Oh,
No,
okay.
after the episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took the test after the episode and my score changed.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there
Yeah.
was actually a final one. It's not just visionary or integrator. There's actually a third one that people don't talk about. They think that you either need to be one or the other, but sometimes you're neither.
Oh.
And I learned this when I took the test because the first time I got like 93 visionary, right? And everybody's in great spirits when they first join. You're like, oh, I'm going to kill this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hard,
Yeah.
So I got 93 visionary back then. And then I took the test again and it was like just below 80 visionary.
Hmm.
And there's a video that comes on afterwards and he explains your score and what it means. And mine said, well, you need at least an 80 in one or the other in order to score visionary or integrator.
Interesting. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so if both of your scores came in under that I was
Interesting.
like, huh.
I wonder too if having gone through the Avatar series already and and already having put in myself, I'm direct to seller visionary, and then going and having taken this test, if I didn't answer some of those questions with that in my head, if that makes
Right.
sense, you know?
Kind of self-diagnosing yourself and then taking the
Yeah.
test. Yeah.
Like what I'm thinking about this now is when I was in college long time ago, I went to junior college first. I got out of high school. I took this like career figuring out class. I forget what the heck it was called. Like,
Mhm.
yes, and one of the portions of this class was taking this assessment test, and then you answer all these questions. It's 100 or whatever questions, and at the end it tells you like you should be a janitor or you should be a whatever the heck you are, right? Whatever your assessment scores. And I failed that class because I didn't show up to it when I was in high school, or right out of high school. And so then I joined the Marine Corps, and I did a couple things after the Marine Corps and decided I wanted to go back to school. Well, this F is sitting on my record, and the only way to get rid of the F is to go retake the class and get it off. I had already put in my head that I wanted to be an engineer. Like, this is what I'm going back to school for. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to go to junior college for a couple years till I can get my grades up, and then I'm going to go to an engineering school. And so I feel like I took this test and I answered all the questions like an engineer would. And so at the end it says, "Oh, you should be an engineer." So I could show my teacher, like, "See, I'm right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing." Yeah. So I don't know. Having gone through engineering school now, I got about a year out, and a year before graduating, I was like, I don't want to be an engineer, but I'm this far into it at this point. I should at least get the paper. Yeah. Sorry, sidetracked. I forget
No,
what we're
not at
talking
all.
about.
My one of my daughter's friends, she had a little clique of friends that they grew up with, from elementary school all the way in. They all went to college together too. And one of her friends in that clique is an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm my wife, business partner, best friend. We met in engineering school. She's a mechanical engineer. I was a mechanical engineer. She was a double major, I think it was industrial engineer, something industrial management, maybe engineer.
Oh wow.
She's totally engineer. Like, she's analytical. She's the integrator. I like certain things about it. Like, I do like going into an Excel and seeing what numbers I can play with and get my 15% cash on cash return at the end. I like doing that stuff. But if you told me to go underwrite deals for 6 hours a day, nah, that's gonna burn me the heck out.
Right.
I got to be talking
You'll
to
be like,
people.
kill me now.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm donezo. So
gotcha.
we made this pivot, 4 to 6 months ago at this point, away from wholesaling, away from me talking to sellers. And there is an aspect of that I do miss, because I do miss talking to sellers and, figuring out what's going on, how I can kind of create a solution for them, especially creatively. But we're not doing that anymore. We're buying houses. So.
Yeah. See, Leos are phenomenal with people too. Did you know Joe Rogan is a Leo?
Oh no, that doesn't surprise me though. I have no idea what a Leo is. but
Leos are very
yeah,
sociable. They're
okay.
like, lovable big giant kitty cats,
Interesting. I do, and you can't see it. I have a lion on my leg. I got it as a birthday present 10 years ago or something to myself.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So your podcast, I forgot to ask you this. We were on that before. You have like 50 episodes.
Yeah.
So
we just went live. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, do you have a regular time that you do them? Do you do them like regularly, or are they just like haphazard whenever it's good for the guests like I do?
Yeah, I do them. They release every Wednesday at noon. We've been doing them live Wednesdays at noon Eastern time for 6 weeks now, maybe something like that. I have had some other commitments that have sidetracked, so we do pre-record some as well, just to release Wednesdays at noon, but they always come out Wednesday noon Eastern time, or I'm live in the so same as you. I saw it says somewhere on like the ticker, make sure you subscribe and click the notifications, because we do go live and you'll get notified right when we do.
Right. Yeah, I've been thinking about like now that I'm pretty comfortable with the way I've been doing it for a while, because I had to figure everything out on my own by myself, and nobody taught me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recently, of course, just expanded to the audio platforms, and those I have scheduled every Wednesday morning.
Okay.
At like 6 a.m. or whatever, 6 a.m. 5 a.m. my time, 6 a.m. Eastern, something like that. And I know that that's better because everybody knows exactly when to expect it.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a little bit of validity to that, right? Where you're building up where your audience knows, like, oh yeah, this is when he goes live, right? Or this is when that podcast drops. I know that my Wednesday morning is drive to work is going to be treated with this is the way. So there's
right.
definitely some value in that, I think. But just being able to put out content consistently is valuable too, right? If you were committed to doing a specific time every week and your guests can't do that, well, now you're not putting out the content. So I'd rather be
Right.
just doing it when you can.
I
But
like
who the heck am
watching
I? I
the
don't know.
big podcast and learning from them too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
uh, Diary of a CEO.
Hmm.
He has some really good. You know who I'm talking about,
I
right?
have no idea.
Oh, you gotta
I
check
don't
him
listen. I
out.
don't really listen to podcasts. I don't.
Well, I just
Yeah.
do on YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube's my favorite TV channel. I don't really watch
Yeah.
TV. I just watch
Yeah.
YouTube.
It's the best one out there.
But yeah, he's British. And so he
Okay.
has that really cool accent where he talks like
Yeah.
this, you know
I
what I
need
mean?
subtitles for that.
But yeah, he's right. So I've been watching, big ones like that and
Okay.
trying to get some stuff like from his eye and several other ones. I'm like thinking about starting the pre-recording and releasing them.
Hmm.
Um And they're like, one reason is you can take little clips from the episode and do like the beginning trailer. Like I've
Right.
been seeing those a lot lately, and I'm like, oh, that's really good because you'll hear the podcaster ask the guest the question and you really want to know the answer, and then they'll cut away before the answer is given. So it makes you want to watch the episode.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There's
oh,
there's there's a little bit of that, like, yeah, value in that, pulling the audience in right away. But you just do what's best for you, I think, and people are gonna follow you that wanna watch your content, right? And
yeah.
keep the ball rolling. But I
Yeah.
yeah, I wrote that down. Diary of a CEO. I tend to be an audiobook person when I have the chance to, like, be listening
Mhm.
to something. Whenever I get in the car, I'll be listening to an audiobook. So, it's funny, we've talked about beforehand, the who not how. I tend to do the how not who for certain things, right? Like,
Right.
figuring out the StreamYard stuff. You figured out the ticker and that the banner needs to be taken off before you do the intro, or the intro is going to play with a banner over top of it, right?
Right.
So,
I've learned all these the hard way.
yeah, the little thing. So I do every now and then. I'll listen to, like, a Joe Rogan. I'll scroll and see okay, who's interesting on there. I try to keep like, I just try to keep politics stuff out of my
Yeah.
mental space. So, even the Joe Rogans, they tend to end up in politics zone. I think maybe
Sometimes.
the Diary of the
Yeah.
CEO doesn't. If that doesn't apply there, then maybe that's something I can add to the
Yeah,
repertoire.
Diary of a CEO. His is so good because I mean, I like watching Joe Rogan because he has the number one podcast. Whatever it
Yeah.
is he's doing, he's got the most
Yeah.
listeners and watchers. And Diary of a CEO is really good too. But his content, his guests that he has on, they're they're like, I feel like they're more so things that will help the audience, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe Rogan has on the most popular topic of conversation at that moment. You see
Yeah.
the difference? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
His is
Like,
more entertainment, whereas it sounds like the Diary of CEO is more.
right. What everybody's talking about right now is Joe
Yeah.
Rogan. And then Diary of a CEO is this guest is talking about a problem that so many people have, and you tune in because you want to know how to help yourself or someone you know or love with this whatever problem.
Yeah. And these are people from all industries, different types of industries. Yeah.
Yes, all types of industries. He had one doctor that specializes in menopause. He had another one on that was talking about health. He had another one on that was talking about. He had Mel Robbins on one time, and I guess talking about ADHD. No, she was talking about ADHD. But my point is, they're all more like geared towards things that can help the audience
Yeah.
rather than what's really popular. I mean, each one serves a different purpose.
Well,
Like,
and I think too, like going outside of our industry is helpful too, because it makes us think about things in a different way, right? If we're only listening to real estate all the time, we're kind of pigeonholed in our thinking. Where if we go listen
right.
to somebody from like a pharmaceutical company or whatever, insert business here, you might hear something that goes, "Oh, I could apply that to this aspect of my business," and it's going to change the way I'm able to do things, and it might even set me apart from the competition where everybody else is just listening to you know like for lack
Yeah.
of a better person, Pace Morby, but
And
Pace
that's
Morby's
where the visionary part of us comes out. We're
yeah,
good at
exactly.
coming up with ideas, and we
Yep.
see something and it sparks five more ideas. And
Yeah. And so like going outside of your normal ecosystem, I think has a lot of benefits. So that's something that's interesting to me, the Diary of the CEO, because hearing other CEOs that are successful in other industries, you might be able to cherry pick some ideas there.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
So I
really
appreciate
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. There's a lot of them I listen to. Oh, and another one I saw, another this is more like in the spiritual enlightenment world, but this guy, oh, what was his name? He has a really popular podcast. I forgot his name at the moment. It escapes me. But
The
I
only one
was
I could think
watching
of is
one of
Jay
his.
Shetty.
What was that?
Not
No,
Jay
it
Shetty.
wasn't
Okay.
Jay Shetty, but it was one of those big ones. Not Know Thyself, another podcast. Anyway,
Okay.
at the end of his podcast, he showed takes of their conversation after they were off camera because he had
Uh,
Aaron Abke on. And then
okay.
they were talking. I was like, "Oh my god, that is so cool!" Because it shows them how how they're
Yeah,
just like
that'll
regular people, and it helps you
yeah.
relate with them or whatever. And it
Yeah.
was kind of cute and funny. So I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea."
I
I
like
want
to think
everybody to
that
do it.
our conversation's pretty just regular people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the way I try to do it. Like I like to,
Know
freestyle.
thyself.
And,
I'm gonna look that one up too.
yeah, the Know Thyself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. That's not the one I'm talking about though. The one I'm talking about, his logo is like a brain with a bunch of rainbow colors in it. Do you know who I'm
Oh,
talking about?
I
He always has the
is it?
beanie cap on under his headphones, and he
Oh no,
has
it's not
this
the guy I'm
really
thinking of.
big, beautiful, bright white smile.
It's not a big guy.
And he talks really soft like this.
Oh no, I don't know this guy. He puts his late night radio DJ voice on. Sander. Yeah. Or no, that's Dave Voss, Chris Voss, whatever that guy's name is.
I'm gonna see if I can if it
Never split the difference. I think it's Chris Voss. Um,
oh yeah. Um
yeah, interesting. I can't think of
I'm not
anything. It's
seeing it.
funny. The Jay Shetty thing is something that I've been listening to his book. I've listened to it twice now. The Think Like a Monk. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's a long book though. It's like 20 hours, I
Jay
think.
Shetty is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff in his Think Like a Monk book. So I can only imagine. Again, I don't really listen to podcasts, but I would imagine that his podcast is pretty good.
He has one of those soothing voices as well. It
Yeah,
just like makes you just want to like cuddle up and fall
yeah.
asleep.
Whatever this guy's saying is gold.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
You're gonna
pause
think of
it.
the name of this as soon as we stop.
Of course, that's
Yeah.
always the way it is,
So
right?
we'll
If I
just
do
come
come
back
up with
live
it,
again. Yeah.
yeah, if anybody's like interested, I will put it in the description as soon as I pull it up or remember it.
I love it. Yeah. Let's do that.
But absolutely. So, for everybody out there, anybody who is looking to who has any properties that they would like Nathaniel to consider, this is what he's looking for. Do you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we're buying creative deals pretty nationwide at this point. There's a couple states, use your imagination, that we're staying away from as
Mhm.
landlords.
Mhm.
But our first criteria is that they at least break even with property management in place as a long-term rental. We're not holding things really as a long-term rental. That's just the market that we're in right now, is that properties don't cash flow really a whole lot. typically as long-term rentals, but
Mhm.
that's our first kind of criteria, because if the other strategies that we are employing to hold properties in shift and are not viable anymore, we want to be able to at least hold the property and break even on it until things appreciate. So, the price of the house appreciates and we're able to sell it or finance out or do something like that, or rents appreciate to a point where we're able to start making cash flow on it. So if you have properties out there, we'd love to talk to you, become a buyer for you. I know you probably got buyers already, but we're doing things a little differently. So we'd love to have a conversation and see how we can become a go-to buyer for you. And if you go to
Yeah.
this website right here,
And
I don't know.
also,
Yeah.
oh, yes, you have it on your screen. I love
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. Uh,
Also,
if you go to
wholesalers
that
could get a
website, yeah.
hold of you if they have some property that they have
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, if you go there, it'll take you to the right place. All my socials that you see below are on that website, so you can click and it'll take you right to where you want to go. If you want to connect with me, there's calendars on there, so you can kind of self-choose which calendar to get on, and
Mhm.
it'll take you to the right spot, and then we can connect, have a conversation, and see how we can work together. Like I was talking about
Mhm.
earlier, I'm interested in finding out what you're doing right now in your business, what's going well, what's not going well, and how I can use my, 8 years experience and all the connections that I've made inside and outside of Sub 2 to kind of help you get to where you're trying to go faster and farther.
Yes. I'll make sure that, because when I do the shorts, they're not gonna be able to see your whole,
Oh yeah.
um, website when I do the shorts, but I'll be sure to put it in the description with all of these. And this is
Yeah,
how
it's my
you
if
get
you're
a
able to see my name, it's just my full name smushedtogether.com.
right,
Yeah.
smushed together. No spaces.
No spaces. Yeah.
All right. And so what about this website right here? What do folks find when they get on that website?
Yeah, that's like our home buying company. It's a very localized website. So I'm in South Carolina, right on the border
Mhm.
of Georgia. We bought a lot of properties kind of starting out here in the Augusta, Georgia area and moving out
Mhm.
through Aiken, South Carolina. So it's just a website where you can kind of see our faces, you can kind of see what we're doing, like what our company mission and values and core values and things like that are. But
Okay.
really, probably for the majority of people, it's not that valuable. Yeah.
Okay, so this just kinda talks about, kinda like a landing website page?
So the experthomebuyers.com was like us, it was a seller page. We haven't done it in a while, but we did SEO on it. Gosh, it's going back 5 years. We were a highly ranked page, top 1, 2 for all your like popular SEO words: sell my house, we buy houses, cash home buyers. So we were doing a lot of
Mhm.
business through that website, and so now it's kind of just sitting there. It hasn't been updated in a while, but
So, is there, like, a form they can fill out if they have a property to sell you on this website, or would that be
absolutely.
the one over your head?
If you're a seller and you're looking to sell a property, that's the place to go. If
Oh,
you're like a wholesaler and you want to assign a property, I would go to this one, because not only will you be able to, you know, hook us up with a deal, but you'll also be able to just connect and have a conversation and see how we can grow together. Yeah, the expert home buyers is more for a typical homeowner.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I wanna thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
coming
Yeah.
on the show. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
This
It
was
was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, this is the way. I was hoping there was going to be more Grogu behind you, because I
Yes.
saw in one of yours that you had a lot of Grogu going. But
Yeah, well, why I got him? I mean, I think he's cute and everything, and my daughter had given me him for Christmas one year because we were watching that, and I was
okay,
like, "Oh my gosh, he's so adorable." But do you get the reference? Like, when I
yeah.
found the piece, I felt I was having
Oh,
an epiphany. I felt like, "Oh my gosh, this is the way." I felt like the Mandalorian, and I
yeah.
happened to look over and see him, and I put the Sub 2 hat on him, and I'm like, "You just became my little mascot, little guy."
Nice. Yes, this is perfect. Yeah, it's a great name for it. I mean, this is the way. The way is to buy real estate and hold it forever. for a long
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Subto Sean, I was trying to, like I said, I was figuring everything out by myself. I was like, search engine optimization. I don't really understand it 100%, but if they search Subto or they're looking for me, they'll find it. And so, yeah.
That was very smart. That's not something I thought about. See, sometimes it's not the who, it's the how. Most
Yeah.
of the
I
time.
mean, I don't even know if that's right. I
Yeah.
just was thinking like that.
It is right in a sense. There's more to it than that, but in the most basic term, yeah, somebody searches sub 2, they're probably going to find face Morby first. Let's be real.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah, thanks
coming
for
on the
having me.
show and hang back afterwards and we'll chat a little bit. And I would love to come on your show if you ever need another guest.
I do. We're always looking for them.
All
Yeah.
right. So, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.